last time you guys, you came into this large and what looked like a once grandiose kind of like entrance hall. You saw all around you these nice statues, old, withered trophies, like hunting trophies, and primarily the things that struck you the most were these large red glowing crystals scattered about the room and the numerous skeletal bodies also lying scattered about the floor. Um, some dressed in armor, old, kind of archaic looking armor. Some in rags, some you couldn't even identify if there really was anything clothing like on them left. And as you guys kind of ventured about, kind of closely examining some of these crystals and a couple of the bodies, you were able to determine that all of these skeletons were human, and of kind of an indiscriminate age. Um, and as to trying to determine the cause of death, it was very, very hard. But you could see numerous little bite marks on different parts of the bones and stuff like that also appeared to be very old. So clearly something at some point had feasted on these bodies. There is a large set of double doors to what would be your east. There is a singular door all the way to the right, and then what looks like a set of doors that would go northwards, kind of in the center, upward part of this room, that a couple of pillars and statues have crumbled in front of, making the way very difficult. During the course of your investigation of like what the fuck was happening here, you a number of skeletons actually rose up, and came after you, and during the battle you guys actually were able to make out, especially Eldrith and I believe it was Indigo and Sefel, and correct me if I'm wrong, heard some kind of voice deeper in the castle yelling out, screaming more like. You were able to discern some things like no, let them rest, and then kind of cut off gurgled cries. During the course of the battle, you guys could feel something pulling at your magics as you were fighting these skeletons, and eventually shadows that appeared from the darkness, sapping your strength. With a couple of hits, Lara, especially on one crystal, managed to nick a large chunk, sending electrical energy in, and then it crept out and back into her, causing her a little bit of harm. Bupido attempted the same, and a couple of the others of you also tried with various effects, some of the lights and energy eventually kind of wisping out of these crystals as you did manage to make marks, but no electricity coming back out at you. And finally, as the last shadow had been banished, you all felt slightly invigorated as you leveled up. But Lara, you had kind of backed up, exhausted from this fight that you just came through, and you bumped into this crystal that we see behind your pond here, and you felt something kind of like shock through you, and you felt like some kind of presence call out to you deep beneath this castle. And before any of you guys have much time to react, Lara, you hear, in fact, actually, you all hear a, and Lara, you look down and you see the stone floor starting to crumble. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, God. All right, I got a +2. That's a 15, so 17 altogether.
Nice.
Okay. You fall. these stones drop out beneath you and just you try to grab onto the edge and your hands make contact. The rest of you kind of like rush forward like what the hell is going on trying to grab her, but she just whoomph. And there's a moment of pause for you, Lara, and then wham, you slam into something hard and you fly off and wham, wham, descending into this darkness until finally thud, you land. And you take 12 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit bottom.
That's no joke when you're 3rd level.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I guess she's dead.
Well, how much HP did you have after that fight?
I didn't have any. I think I had shit. I leveled up and I got rid of it. I think I had 2 HP. I'm unconscious.
You got
100%. I'm unconscious. Yeah,
So
I'm
Lara.
sorry. I wasn't thinking.
Yeah. Well, now you're fucking getting it.
I know it was 1 or 2. At most, it was 2. Either way, I'm unconscious.
Yeah, I think you were dancing with unconsciousness and death.
Yeah.
So Lara,
sure.
you fall unconscious. You, like, as you fade off very quickly, you see the light kind of above from a couple of the others, like looking down in. But your head kind of lulls to the side, and you're able to make out an odd sight before you close your eyes. And that is, you see a massive skeleton of some kind of creature. Teeth, large teeth the size of your torso, right in front of you. You realize you're looking into a gaping maw of a skull. And then your vision goes black. And in that darkness, as you are kind of fading off, you're not sure where you are, but it's almost like you guys ever play Assassin's Creed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
No. All right. So there's this, in this like loading screen, it's always like this gray empty expanse, and it's like this thin water that just stretches out into nothingness. But like the loading screen has your character kind of there, and you can run around in it, but it never changes. You find yourself in a scene very similar to that. Just darkness and fog as far as you can see, and you hear the splashing of your feet. And you kind of look around. What do you do?
Yeah, if Lara's in this like never-ending hellscape, she's gonna yell out, "KN! KN!" Like trying to reach out to her patron, if she can get any sort of communication.
Okay. You try reaching out, and you feel like something's there. Something's there. Roll a d20 as you make a death saving throw.
Okay. That's a 6.
So that is 1 failure.
Oh dear.
And you feel a presence growing stronger. You feel like something, a shadowy form, is kind of walking out of the mist towards you, but you still can't make it out. But before I go any farther on that, we'll jump back to the rest of you guys. You guys have just come through this battle. You're all standing up there, and all of a sudden you hear this crack, and then all of a sudden Lara just disappears through the floor as a section of it crumbles away, and you hear her yell, and then nothing. And you see Bupito, who was very close to Lara, had tried to reach out, and he's like, "No!" And he's like looking into this hole. What do you guys do?
Well, first, it says like we are like picking up right after.
Just as I run towards the hole, I am going to stop over by Sarif, who also went down, and I'm going to hit him with a quick spare of the dying. Because that's,
Okay.
I saw her fall, but I don't know that she's unconscious, but I do see him on the floor.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna remember your priorities, Indigo.
You brought a backup character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do what I had to do. But with that accomplished, I am going to kind of hustle over to the hole. Look over at Sefel. Do you still have your feathers?
I do. I was going to use this when she fell, but it happened too quickly, as if by an act of God. And I will just sort of hang one foot over the hole, and I will allow myself to fall forward as I cast Featherfall on myself and Indigo, should he choose to join me.
Yeah, I'll fall. And as I kind of like swan dive in, Stool, take care of Sarf and the rest. You're in charge while I'm gone. Bye.
They're doomed.
Does spare the dying actually bring someone back up to consciousness, or are they still like at unconscious?
They're still unconscious, but they're stable. It stabilizes.
Okay, so Sareth still on the ground. Turvy kind of approached a little bit, but the others are just gathered around, and as you both just jump in, and Indigo, you yell that Lupito's just like, I suppose we'll just wait. And Eldith just kind of like huffs, and she's just like, well, I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing. And she just kind of like grabs Topsy and starts going to investigate some of the skeletal bodies. But you guys start descending downwards, which we realize is actually still fairly quickly. But
oh yeah, it's 60 feet per round.
Yeah. So, as you guys are descending, and you both have dark vision, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You see that it is that you're descending into what looks like an extremely large cavern, hundreds and hundreds of feet long and wide. And as you manage to quickly look up, you see what looks like the bottom of this massive structure that you just fell from. And you can see, as you come down to land, this gargantuan skeletal form of this long creature that stretches across almost this entire cavern. You would have to guess, because you can't even see it, but you can hear your echo as you land. And judging by the size of this massive skull in front of you, that it has to be, close to almost 150 feet long or more. And you see Lara. She's crumpled on the ground, fairly well beaten. And all around this cavern, you make out those same kind of glowing crystals. And they seem to grow a little bit brighter. But you see that there's red, there's blue, there's white, there's even some green, like glowing in these crystals all about you. And you can feel a heavy magical presence in this space here. Jumping back to Lara, though, you see this shadowy form starting to approach you. Go ahead and make me another death saving throw.
And this is, alright, I got 3 failures. 4, I'm fucked. 15. Whew.
Okay, so you make it. You then hear a voice as this figure kind of stops, shrouded in the mist. Again, you can't really make them out, but they look appear to be humanoid. Lara. Why are you here, Lara?
I've fallen in the pursuit of saving innocence. What is this?
This is a place of my making, but you are dying. And your previous benefactor can't really reach you. So I'm reaching
How do you know
out.
this?
Oh, I know a few things. This world down here works a little bit differently than it does up in the wilds that they prevail over. Go ahead and make another death saving throw for me.
That's an 8.
Another failure. And you actually feel it now in this kind of weird limbo place. You feel pain deep within you, and you hear the crunching of bones. And this figure says, "That's a mighty nasty wound. I see broken ribs. I see punctured lungs. I'm not sure, Lara, if you're gonna make this."
It isn't my time. I imagine she's like thinking about the wounds in herself, but probably unable to actually put pressure on them, and so she's like in this state of like frustration. I have to save them. I have to get my wings back. And she's just this frustrated anger.
Yeah, you've come a long way. This was the beginning of your hopefully triumphant comeback in a way. And this shadowy form walks out of the mist, and they're just shadow. They appear tall, broad, male, if you had to guess. And as they're approaching you, you don't hear their footsteps in the water the way you do yours. But you then see your crumpled form and your two friends standing over you. And this figure kind of gestures out at this scene and goes, Lara. I don't know that your friends are going to save you in time. I could, though.
Was I not... she'll stop at that. Has KN placed you in my path?
No.
And what is in it for you to save me?
Very much like you are here, and he gestures one more time to the scene conjured before you. I find myself in a very poor, compromised, and on the edge of death. With your help, I could find myself brought back to a better life. And if you were to do so, I could very easily give you back your wings.
I imagine that Lara, like, in this state, is, like, looking at this figure, and as soon as he says, I could give you back your wings, she just like straightens up and looks at him and says, I accept.
And you can see they're kind of like, they cock their head. My, so eager.
There is much that I have done wrong in my life, and I know that getting my wings will bring me back to the divine origin that I came from.
Mm-hmm. And this figure comes closer to you, and as this shadowy form stands in front of you, excuse me, you see that they are probably close to 7 feet tall, quite large, and you can't really make out too many distinct features in this kind of wispy, shadowy form, but they hold out a large hand. They said, if you take this, we are in agreement. You help me rise, and I will help you fly.
I imagine she looks at the hand for like a fraction of a second and thinks, I hope Kayan doesn't get mad at this. And then she's going to put her hand in his.
Okay. Now, out of game, I'm gonna tell you something. If you do this, your patron will legitimately change. Okay? Your pact and stuff like that, not going to change. Doesn't change. Just who the patron is. You know, it may be a genie. It may be something else. Are you okay with that or no?
So I think that, assuming that this like meta between you and I, DM to player, occurred like in her brain of like second guessing it, looking at the hand, I would like to make one more death saving throw.
Okay.
And I would like to use my inspiration point that I earned in our first combat. Can I do that?
I'm going to allow it. I don't know that you traditionally can, but I'm going to allow it.
Okay. Although I still need 3 successes, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
And I've only had 1. 1 success and 2 failures. All right. Well, I would still want to at least take that time to think it over.
Yeah, go for
and see
it.
if I can get a success on this one.
Absolutely.
All right. That's a nat 20.
Okay. So you do feel yourself all of a sudden just feeling better. And you do feel like you know you're going to pull through this. Like, you are okay. However...
But I'm still with this being.
You're still with this being. Do you take the hand, or do you tell them no?
I imagine that she's like... Her arm is like... Or, you know, her arm is bent, but like the hand is like held up in the air. And she looks at it. And then she like clutches this invisible wound. And she looks him in the eye. And she just says, I think that there's more for me to do with my current standing. I would rather take this one as it is. And she'll like fall. You know, like fall away to like embrace her injuries.
Yeah. And as you do, this figure, its arms go behind its back, and it says, well, I will be here when you next fall. And it all dissipates, and as you kind of return back to your wounds, you actually hear faintly in the distance the rumbling and crackling of a storm coming. Now, jumping back to you, Indigo and Safel, you land, and it does not look good. You see her crumpled form. You see the broken bones. You can tell very, very quickly. However, as you guys get close, you see one large, shaky breath kind of come out of her. However, she still is unconscious. What do you guys do?
Since we leveled, do I have access to those slots?
Since yours are divinely given, I will say yes. I will say for Sefel, though, you'll need to wait to prepare, kind of a thing.
It's understandable.
I think
I'm
Indigo's
not happy
absolute
with it.
first instinct is to rush over and immediately lend a helping hand in the form of a cure wound to 2nd level, because she looks rough.
Yeah.
And then he would want to help as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Okay.
That's what we like to see. That's 19 points of healing for you.
Shit.
Damn.
I should go heal.
Who says heals aren't exciting? Yes.
So Lara, you reawaken. What do you think?
Yeah. I imagine Indigo. What happened?
Well, you fell down a hole, and then we jumped down after you, and now we're healed, and thank you to the goodness of Torel, you're back up and looking mighty fine.
Where is he? There was a man
Nope.
with a...
Nope.
No.
Nope. No, it's just the 3 of us down here.
Is that giant skeletal figure here?
Yeah, it's like right next to you. You guys are like right next to the skull of this massive creature that's obviously dead.
I was gonna say that while Indigo was healing up Lara, I wanted.
Uh-oh.
Mike boom, man grabs cat.
Hell yes. Go kitten, go.
I wanted to. She's being a little shit today, and she's about to go in another room. While Indigo was healing up Lara, I wanted to see if there was any check that I could do to identify what that skeleton might be.
Sure. I will allow nature or arcana.
Okay. My bonuses are equal for both, but for the sake of this, I don't know, we're in a weird place with a weird magical aura. I'm gonna say this is an arcana check. Okay. 16.
Okay. You... this is a tricky one. I can give you a little bit. You feel like this creature, as you're kind of like... Are you just looking at the skull? Are you walking along it? What do you think you're doing?
No, I feel like he would be analyzing the whole creature. Like he would start with the head, and then he'd kind of walk beside it to see, the length, try to like check its structure, see if the magical aura, if it's all centralized in the area, or if maybe some of it's residual of whatever this beast might have been.
Okay.
Trying to key into what it may be.
Sure. The magical aura is kind of thing that will be more of like a detect magic. As for this creature, as you are kind of looking at the skull and walking around, you see that this skull appears to be kind of draconic in a way. And as you kind of follow this huge skull back, you see that there are a pair of horns that kind of come back, but they're shorter. And they kind of sweep straight back and come to a small point. And then the rest of the skeleton is kind of odd. it's a weird mixture. You see something of a rib cage that looks a little bit more serpentine. You do find some very large, long limbs, skeletal limbs that come off into large, kind of clawed-like digits. And as you're following it back, you actually come across a large mound of something, just kind of like weirdly in the middle of this room. And as you kind of walk along the rest of this creature, you see that this skeleton is curled around this spot. And you see that it is, in fact, probably about 175 feet long. It's a very large creature. You see that it's got 4 legs, but something about the structure would suggest to you that this creature had the ability to like expand its ribs exceedingly wide, as they're kind of like half buried in the earth here, that they're not fully attached to the spinal column that remains kind of intact here. But the only thing
Kind of like
that you can recall,
I'm kind of picturing like the
ahead.
gaping dragon from Dark Souls.
Yes, but yes and no. The head is far larger. You would think
Right.
the best context that I could put this in is oh man, let me yes, okay. Look up, if you guys know what I'm talking about, a earless monitor lizard. And just get some images up of that. So if you find it, it's got this very long torso, these kind of shorter legs, and this very long tail that kind of come up into a dragon-esque / crocodilian kind of face. So you, while you're kind of going along the length of this creature, think it would look similar to this. However, it has a far more draconic head.
Interesting.
Upon hearing that she's alive and everything, I think that Lara would like to take her. So she has her genie's trinket at the end. She has it tied to the end of her braid. And she's going to unravel that and hand it to Indigo. Indigo, hold this, would you? And then she's going to disappear into the bottle.
Whoa.
Okay.
And the hope is that when she arrives inside, that she'll be able to convene easier with her patron.
Okay. Describe what the inside of this bottle looks like.
Yeah. This actually, I'm struggling to figure out what exactly Lara's would look like. But I imagine it to be like, just kind of modest. Probably with like a bunch of like crap that she's picked up on her travels. Like nothing of necessary any value. Like Lara grew up fairly modestly, so the inside of this is just kind of like holding her crap. And so it's kind of like a round room. The size I think can only be like 20 feet. So it's not big. And then there's just like very plush seating. So that if you're there, you can sit comfortably, but otherwise it's just kind of like stuff unorganized in boxes and on like coffee tables kind of thing.
So you arrive in this space, and you're going to try and commune with your patron.
Yeah, she's gonna sit and kind of like in a very comfortable seat and just like close her eyes and really think about air and the atmosphere and storms and really try and conjure up Kan if at all she can.
Okay. You concentrate and you focus for a while, and you're drumming up images of Kane's domain, and you're calling out to them, but you don't feel that connection.
Yeah, after like I don't know, I don't think she would have the patience to wait very long, and she'll just open her eyes and sit there, and then with like this scowl on her face, and then she'll pop back out of Indigo's hand, and she's just fuck. Well, that I'm getting really tired of being down here.
Down here, in like at the bottom of this pit, down here, inside this small metal object, or down here in the Underdark.
Down here where there's no open sky.
So all three. Gotcha. I'm sorry, but that sounds very frustrating.
Thanks. She'll take the bottle back and tie it back on the end of her braid.
Okay.
Oh, hey, by the way,
go ahead.
What? But you're just gonna you jumped inside a magic bottle, and we're not gonna talk about this.
I can't take you with me if that's what you're asking. It's kind of like my little. Yeah, I kind of made a deal with a Ginny, and that's kind of part of me, is that I can reside in this bottle, and she'll hold it up if I need to, but for the most part it's just kind of a nice place to go if I need to. But I can't take you with me, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's I knew a girl named Ginny. I didn't get a magic bottle, but
it's not the same.
I mean, I'm not here to judge.
It's fine.
No, if you met KN, you would know that it was different. And she's like very proud of her patron, but yeah, she's frustrated in this moment. Did we find anything out about what's going on here? And Indigo, I apologize. Thank you for bringing me back.
Hey, it's what I do.
This skeletal creature seems draconic in nature, but different from normal dragon fanaticism.
Lara, you do feel that same pull, and you kind of feel it almost like a vroom, vroom in your core, and it's pulling you as you can now look about the room a little bit easier. This space, you see that mound, and you feel like whatever this thing is that you felt above is coming from that.
Did you explore this? And she'll immediately head toward that direction and investigate it.
Okay.
No. Good luck.
No, I will. Sefel will follow.
I'll keep a respectful distance.
Just for shiz and giggles, Andrew, go ahead and make me a nature or arcana check as you're kind of looking about this space as well, and this weird skeletal creature.
Nature times. It's a paltry 10.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, this, you're flipping through notes, you can't really recall or identify what this thing is. But the two of you kind of go up to this mound. It's probably about 6 feet tall and probably about 15 feet wide. And it looks like a very large mound of packed dirt. But you, Lara, feel like there's something inside of it.
You're both going. Wait a second. Where's Sareth, Eldith, Bupito? Where's everybody?
We're up here,
up top?
here. You see torchlight as you look up and just like a bunch of faces looking down. Are you all right? Right.
Yeah. Why are we going back up at some point? Hopefully. No.
I mean,
We're gathering
hopefully.
rope.
All right. Well, that's that. You're going to have to believe me on this. There is something in this mound.
That's not a hard sell. It's a strange creature. Ancient, most likely surrounding, very obviously, a mound of packed dirt.
There is something calling to me inside of it, and I will be finding out what is inside. Would you mind perhaps readying yourselves? I don't know what will happen.
Inigo inches backwards.
Safel just stands there. He's just waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Fuck
just
your
standing there.
bullshit.
Yeah, he like meets your gaze and like a little bit of a sigh comes through and his tentacles like open a little bit as he does, but he's just waiting.
I imagine Safel has like
Fair
a
enough.
tentacle twitch as like a telltale sign that he's annoyed. Just like one of them shivers or something.
It is the third one on the left.
The third on the left.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And she will start to just like hand over hand, like get in there.
Okay, you start digging through this dirt. Yeah, it's a little hard at first, but eventually you're able to start pulling away larger chunks and getting in there, and it gets softer. And as you do, you actually cut yourself a tiny bit, not enough to take damage, on something sharp. And as you dig a little bit more, you pull out something very, like, it looks black, and in your eyes you can see what looks like something kind of like refracting. And unless you have light, you really wouldn't be able to tell what, like, if this thing has any colors to it or not, but it looks like a piece of something, and you kind of put it to the side, and you keep digging, and you find more and more and more of these various different shaped things, and then eventually you come across something solid.
When I started pulling out random things, I would cast light.
Okay, so you cast light. All these materials
Yeah,
that
like
you've
I imagine
pulled
just
out,
on my staff.
yeah, you pull these things out, you cast light, and you see they look like thin, kind of curved, opalescent, almost what looks like glass, but it's the black opal kind of color, so it's got miniature rainbows kind of refracting off of it, and you can see it kind of flash in the light, and you guys can all see this now. It kind of reflects about the cavern that you're in here. And you kind of feel like you hit something very solid down in there, that mound. You're probably a good 3 feet in now.
Here, Indigo, I'm sure you'll want to draw this. And she'll toss it over her shoulder.
I will do my best to catch it.
Okay.
And then, so
You
I'm at
catch
this,
it
like,
and,
solid thing.
Oh, go ahead. It feels like something solid. It feels kind of like there's some kind of domed thing that you're kind of like tapping upon. But it feels like it's very solid. And it has the same coloring, if you clear away a little bit more of the dirt, as the shards of whatever you've pulled out.
And I'm Well, I think we need to uncover this. I can't tell you why exactly. I'm feeling this is meant. This we have to uncover this. And she's going to like continue to like just like get all the sides clear so that she can really see what this thing is.
Okay. Indigo, go ahead and make me another nature check with advantage now, as you have this piece and you're kind of going over it. Safel, you can assist or do one on your own if you want. Okay, so 18.
Well, I was going to say if this is probably taking a long time because she's digging with what I assume are just her hands on a very large dirt mound. Once she uncovered the first one, we're all kind of taking a look at it. I can sit down for 10 minutes and cast Identify.
Okay, so you're trying to identify magic here specifically?
It doesn't necessarily have to be magic, it just identifies what it is. So,
okay.
Hold on, let me bring it up just to make sure I am correct on that. You choose one object that you have to touch throughout the casting. If it is a magic item or other magic imbued object, I learn what its properties are and how to use them. I learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, I learn which spell. If I instead touch a creature, I learn what spells. Okay, so it is magically inclined.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you touch the shards or do you touch the thing that she's currently trying to uncover?
The shards, because theoretically I could do both.
Okay. There's no magic.
The shards. Okay.
So you would presume that it's something naturally formed. Indigo, you kind of look back to the creature, you look back to these shards, you look back to this creature, you look back to the shards, and you are starting to kind of dance on the edge of something that semi-concerns you if you feel like your hunch is correct, but also you're like, no, this isn't true. Like, this can't be the same thing because all other reports of what this thing could be don't really match what we found here. You're like, in your head, you're like, there should be at least 4 more pairs of legs on this creature, if it's what you think it might be. And so, Lara, you finally get all the edges dug out, and it hits you. You're looking at an egg. It's probably about 2 feet tall and about a foot or like maybe close to 14 to 15 inches in diameter. So it's pretty big. And now you're basically like in this mound, and you see all the other shards are broken eggs. And as you touch this, you feel like this shock kind of travel through your fingers and into this egg. And inside you see like these multicolored facets just carrying through in it, and you kind of like bring your fingers back like, whoa. And inside you can see what looks like some kind of creature. And you feel that thumping in your own chest, that your heart's starting to pick up. And then you see, like, in the flashes within this egg, it's starting to move. And then you all hear this, and it continues to grow and to grow and to grow. And Indigo, you recall tales of a creature, supposedly, now no one's fully sure if it's confirmed or not, of a creature created by giants, supposedly, that was used to aid them in a millennia-old war between them and dragons. And this creature was reportedly said to be used by the giants to kill off dragons. And as this egg all of a sudden explodes, Lara, you see in front of you, very similar to an earless monitor lizard, with these kind of lumps and ridges all about it. It's got these 4 limbs, small but powerful looking. However, instead of kind of the more crocodilian-like snout of the monitor, it's more of it's got the same length, but it has this large kind of neck that comes up, and it looks like it has stretch to it, and you see that there's these little ridges that run along it and 2 little horns that come backwards, and you see that its hind legs are surprisingly powerful, like it could probably prop itself up on it. And you see 2 sets of eyes open on its head, and they are a bright blue color. And you just see it slowly start to pick itself up till it sits on its hind legs a little bit. Its 2 upper arms kind of hanging down by its side, poised in front of it. Its long tail supporting it upwards. And it just looks at you in this kind of awkward blink, and then opens its mouth. And have you guys ever seen the inside? I know I'm throwing a lot of animal stuff at you. You guys ever seen the inside of a snapping turtle's throat?
Yes,
Andrew can support this. Yeah, it's got like all these teeth that look like it kind of like helps push stuff down in through its gullet. You see that this creature's mouth, Lara, just like opens up weirdly wide, and you can see that same kind of gullet, but then it quickly closes its mouth. And it's a small creature. And it kind of clops itself down onto all 4s and starts kind of walking up to you very quietly. Its skin in the light is kind of a similar shimmery blackness. And you can see as it kind of like approaches you, it's making like this weird little noise, and you can see these flashes of kind of light travel along its body. Indigo, you realize looking at this creature, though it is not similar, bears a lot of similarities to the creature created by giants, supposedly, called a Bahir. And these long serpentine creatures are ambush predators. They would sneak up on unsuspecting foes and have this deep-seated hatred for dragons, in which they would try to, before a dragon could fly off, run and constrict their long bodies around a dragon, clawing at it. And they had a similar breath weapon to dragons. However, it was much more powerful at a shorter range, and they would use it to try and target the dragon's head, and then basically, very much like a constrictor snake, try to swallow them and like completely consume them. And you think that this creature bears very interesting resemblances to that one. And Lara, this creature comes up to you, kind of sniffs you, and then kind of starts to rub against you and kind of start to climb its way up your body. And you feel like it's got some heft to it, but you feel its power and its nature. And if you look in your extras on your D&D Beyond page, you have your new pact friend.
Oh. she will, as this creature is like rubbing up against her, reach out her hand, and like go to like hesitantly like touch this creature, and she'll whisper, Ashni, and it's like the word for lightning, among her
What?
people.
Oh, okay. So what language is that?
Well, in our world, it's Hindi, so
Okay.
that's what I stole it from.
Yeah, we'll say it's a
so I don't-
variation of common of a kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So she's just got this like wonder in her voice as she like reaches out.
it looks at you kind of for a second, looking at your outstretched hand, and very much like a cat, then just kind of like leans into it, allowing you to stroke it. And it's got this like, while its ridges are very hard, you can feel that there's almost a softness to its body as well. I don't know if you guys have ever pet like the underbelly of like, see, I've got Grizzly, my bearded dragon. It's very soft, but you can still feel the scales. It's almost of like a similar texture in between the ridges and stuff like that. It's very interesting. What's
I would
everybody
just say, as
thinking?
this is going on, Indigo has his sketch pad out, and he is making notes, everything like that he suspects about Behirs, and also seeing this new creature, and is doing some quick sketches into his book as this creature begins to like interact with Lara.
Yeah. It surprisingly seems docile enough, but you're not sure. You've heard horrible stories about Behirs. So it kind of makes you wonder what's going on, but you're not. It doesn't seem to be threatening her or you guys. And if you guys actually pop over to Roll20, I'll show you a picture of what a Behir normally looks like. Tell me if you guys see that. It's got this long,
Yeah.
blue serpentine body and these numerous short legs that come up to kind of a longish face, and you can see a little bit of lightning, and it's got these weird curled horns. This creature only has 4 legs, this one that's in front of you, and instead of these curled horns, it's 2 very sharp ones that kind of point backwards. But the rest of the face is somewhat similar, except that it's a little bit broader in the face, and it's this black kind of opalish color. So yeah, that's what you got in front of you.
Nice.
And as you guys
so
are
Lara's
kind of
like
observing
petting this creature. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
Kayan has clearly placed this creature in my path for a reason. And she looks at Sefel and Indigo to see what they think.
Well, this is great. I mean, look at it. It's so cute, and also it might someday get very, very large, and it's very exciting. It seems to be friendly. It does eat out of your rations, though. But I think it's absolutely lovely.
I think this is a fair choice as well. Now, if we're done with all the theatrics, can we find a way out of this hole?
And as you say that, a very long, pieced together rope all of a sudden falls from the hole, lands on the ground, and you see stools form, being held by one of its weird legs, kind of drop down from the hole, and someone's hand is just like, "Come on, guys! Guys, let's go, 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 go."
Well, you heard Stool. I put them in charge, and they're coming through, so I'm heading up the rope.
This is entirely useless, but it's more of just a flex. Sefel is going to use his adjust density feature to make himself half as heavy, so he can get up the rope easier, quicker, and put his own mind at ease. That him being on a
Not
rope
because
isn't
he's.
going to cause.
I was gonna say not because he's just a weak creature.
I mean that too, but he's not. He's not a shriveled old man. He just doesn't have to. Oh yeah, that's an important point. I'm still my strength is still down to 6, I believe. Did we know how to
Nope.
fix that, or was that just a okay, cool?
You haven't
so
taken.
actually,
You haven't had the time to figure that out.
No, I had actually totally forgotten about that. So yeah,
Mhm.
actually at this moment it is very much because he is weak. He's going to half his own weight. So he is much easier to it's much easier for him to climb back up.
Okay.
Wow, Sefel, you're a lot more agile than I thought. I mean, I guess your new cephalopod form is really working out for you.
As much as I would like to take credit for my physical prowess, it is my magical means that make me capable of doing this.
Mind over matter, incredible.
How far up is it?
You think it's probably about 80 feet.
Okay.
Wow, and you only took 12 damage. You're lucky as hell.
Yeah.
I will. I'll gesture for Ashney to like get on me because they're small, and then I'll climb up.
Oh yeah, they have no problem clinging to you. Their claws actually kind of hurt a little bit as they hold on to you as you climb out of the hole and start making your way up. What's your strength sitting at, Lara? Did you get hit at all by the shadows?
I did not. Bupito did. I did not.
Okay.
I'm sitting at 16.
All right. Well, roll me a strength check, and the rest of you can as well as you're trying to climb your way up this rope.
Strength or athletics?
Yeah, athletics. I mean, I'm sorry, blanked out for a moment on what the
Does,
basic rules of the game are.
Does Sefel have to do that where he's made himself super light in order to just glide up that rope?
You definitely have advantage. It's a DC 5 fucking check, my dude. It's a rope. Like,
Yeah.
you have most of the
Okay.
work taken out.
You need to
I'm not
understand though,
false.
I
I am still very capable of failing that check.
Okay.
I'll roll with the advantage, but yeah, the first one I rolled was a natural 8, which comes out to a 6. But my
Okay.
advantage gave me a 14 total.
All right. Yeah, you managed to scale up with no problem. Lara?
15.
Okay, you make it up. Indigo?
12.
All right. You guys all manage to climb out, and you see your friends kind of gathered about, except for a still unconscious Sarith kind of still laying off in the corner. Nobody seemed to have approached him.
He's fine.
But Eldith comes up to you and she goes, That's a bit of an odd creature. There, Lara, what have you picked up?
This, Indigo called it a Bahir. She'll look questioningly over at Indigo.
It's like a Bahir, but a Bahir usually has more legs. And the horns are a little different. Maybe like a subspecies. I'll do some more research.
Yes, this creature is a gift from my patron. And she's like convinced this creature was like put in her path for a reason.
Yeah.
And she will like lean forward to see if Ashni will do anything toward Eldith.
So it's kind of like situated yourself, kind of like you've seen some like snakes like across the shoulder. So like its head is over by the right side, and its front limbs are kind of like on the back of your neck. So its neck is fully around towards like the front of your face, and its back legs just meet your left shoulder, and then its long tail kind of like curls down your arm in a coil. It's probably about almost 3 feet long already, simply because the tail is so massive. But you lean down towards Eldith, and Eldith is kind of already questioning, and then Ashni, as you've named it, kind of sniffs and growls and hisses at Eldith, and Eldith kind of backs up, and there was like this spark of kind of odd energy from its mouth as it did so, and it kind of like glows for a minute, and you see its like throat actually expands as this pulse, and it growls, kind of like shivers down its body. It's and Eldith's like, all right, well, good for you. Behears. Never met one. I think I'll be keeping my distance. Thank you. And the others are kind of just like nodding in agreement, and Stool's like, "Oh, it's so cute."
Stay the fuck back, Stool.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just.
Sefel just gained so much respect for Lara. Like if the respect was down at the bottom of that hole, it has now climbed the rope up to the top.
No love for the best character in the entire campaign, Stool.
I will kick that fucking mushroom down the hole.
I will end you, little mind flayer. I will end you.
Try me, bitch.
Stool breaks us all up. No, yeah.
Draw your birds, pretty man.
She would just she wouldn't actually say that to Stool, to be fair. That was more me just being an asshole.
That's okay. I'll just be over here minding my business.
You might have a new friend here, Stool, assuming that Ashni is friendly. I haven't really figured that part out yet.
It might be a vegetarian.
My research says that's highly unlikely.
Your research also says it should have multiple more legs.
That's fair. That's fair. Hasn't gone to peer review yet. That's fine.
It seems you have much to learn of this creature, but I think we have more pressing issues as to where we are, and something I noticed. And you see that it's Bupito talking, and he actually walks over to this hall and points back towards the doors you guys came through. Do you guys go look?
Absolutely.
Immediately.
You guys walk over and you look back down the hall, and the door that had swung inwards from Sefel's touch is now closed. I have already tried it, but it appears to be locked, and I have had no particularly good means of opening it. All the others have tried as well. Blunt force, picking the lock, nothing has worked.
Well, I guess we'll just have to go deeper on in. I mean, we'll have to go this way anyway. This is the way we're going, and we won't let a few creepy passengers stand in our way. We'll figure this out.
I do want to mention something, as I noticed some of you having slight bits of trouble. It occurred to me that you are unfamiliar with a very important part of our world down here. Do you feel that disturbance in the air?
Yes.
I think so.
It's a unusual magic energy that the Drow call Therez. It pervades most of the Underdark. The origin of this power is rather unknown, though the legends state that ancient elven magic dating back to when the Dark Elves were first exiled from the world above is what created it, what permeates much of this land down here. We have used it in some ways to protect ourselves from natural predators and larger creatures that might prey on us down here. Be careful if you sense its presence, as it will try to trip you up.
Oh, well, thanks for the information, Pepito.
You're welcome. We all must survive if we are to return to our respective homes. Best to not let you die along the way.
Agreed.
Now, do we rest or push forward? Our friend Sarith and myself are in quite weak conditions.
I also sense
I think
that
we might as well take a break here for a while.
I sense my endurance is dwindling. My physical faculties have been sapped in some way from those dark creatures. Also, I seem to recall some new knowledge that I don't feel like I can use
Recall
at full
new knowledge?
capacity yet. It is a strange situation. It is
Wow.
magics I feel like once were my own.
That's amazing,
But I have
Safel, that
since
you can
lost touch
recall
with them.
new stuff. That's incredible.
I really
Wizards
don't
are
want to talk to you.
amazing.
I really don't want you getting in on this. The mages are talking, Stool.
You're
Stu,
so
you truly are the wisest among us.
smart. Thank you, Indigo. But I think that's Safel. Clearly.
I kick him down the hole.
No! Do you really?
No, I'm joking, but we're this fucking close.
Try me, sweet boy. Try me. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
I got spell slots left.
him with his no strength.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he's Safel is going through a weird situation where little bits of knowledge are like slowly trickling back into his brain, but he doesn't know if it's kind of the definition of madness. It's like he's seeing glyphs and arcane symbols and writings that right now make zero sense to him, but he feels like he knows what they are. Like there is some deep part of him that feels like he understands them. And he needs time to meditate on them.
Now is as good a place as any, good as time a place as any for all of us to take a long rest. I think we should.
Sounds good to me. Oh, and
Okay.
Sarf, wake up. And I will healing word Sarf before we like sit down to rest, so he's not just like unconscious, floating in the void for the next like 8 hours.
Okay.
A weird genie creature permeates his dreams.
Sarth just like bolts awake. He's like, shadows! Fairy people? What? Hello? Hi, everyone. Did we win?
I'm sorry, are we not going to talk about the fact that you were dreaming about fairy people?
I mean, he is an elf.
What? I didn't.
No,
Don't
nothing.
you feel like that's a little bit generalized?
You're doing great, Sarf. You just we're taking 5.
Thanks. Okay, 5. That sounds great. Thank you. I need it. And he's like trying to push himself off the ground.
All
All right.
Take it easy.
So
By
you
5, I
guys-
meant about 8 hours.
Oh, thank God. And he just like
About
lays back down.
960, really.
All right. So you guys are gonna settle in for a long rest. Are you guys gonna try and keep watch as you're in this creepy place, or are you going to just go ahead and sleep?
Yeah, we should do that. I can take a first watch. I still got a couple slots left, and I'm feeling fairly
Okay.
perky.
Sure.
Well,
Who
if
wants to
we-
take second? You guys can volunteer NPCs that you control, by the way.
Sefel is going to be sitting up against just a wall of the chamber doing his weird stasis for 4 hours, which will sort of give him time in the middle of the night as well to focus in on this new magic that he is coming to understand or re-understand. He's not sure which.
Yeah.
He is getting rather frustrated, though, that all of the magic that he is gaining seems to be coming from out of nowhere, that it's coming from some past part of him, and he really isn't. He doesn't feel like he's learning anything. Like his typical study techniques and the way that he goes about magic just hasn't been available to him down here, and it's becoming increasingly frustrating.
Okay.
Well, I don't think that it makes sense for Indigo to not get a full rest. I think that we would be better off having Sefel take a 4-hour and then,
Yeah.
I don't know, Eldith or Sarah take a 4-hour.
Sure.
Is Sarah? I can't remember. No,
Yeah,
Eldith is a dwarf, so never mind.
I'll volunteer Sarah for a second or third watch.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, go ahead and roll that first watch then, Sefel. Alrighty. 12. Okay. All your companions kind of pile up near the door and kind of settle up backs to backs or backs against the walls as they rest. You see the Snevelben twins, Topsy and Turvy, kind of together. You see Bupido, Eldith, Stool, Sarth just laid back down where they had been reawakened by Indigo. And your time goes by so slowly as you're trying to keep yourself aware. Go ahead and make. Did you make the perception check? I can't remember. Jesus, it was 2 seconds.
I
ago.
did. I got a 12.
Okay. Yeah, you don't hear or see anything during your 4 hours. Do you guys want Sarith or Eldith to go next?
I will
Sarah?
say Eldith does have the keen hearing feature, so her ability to watch out for things might be a little bit better, and it might give Sarth the time he needs to rest and recuperate.
I think Sarth only needs 4 hours, whereas Eldith needs 8, right?
Oh, that's correct. That's right.
Yes.
'Cause of
Sarth is
the-
good.
It'll be fine.
He's fine.
I was trying to be nice for a change. If you wanna, kick that, I can just continue being my crotchety old man self.
No, I appreciate it. But Sarth has
Yeah.
a job to do and he needs to earn his keep.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Fucker went down. He needs to show he can stay with the
Yeah,
crew.
he spent the last 10 minutes asleep, you know?
No, I got you.
Yeah.
It's we do natural selection here.
Yes,
The
sir.
the weak are,
Darwinism.
the weak are pushed harder to test whether or not they're worth keeping.
How else we would know who is the strong?
Yeah, unless it's Stool, because apparently he gets a free pass at everything.
He has
Ah.
saved our lives so many
Yeah.
times.
Stool is a god, let's be honest. All right, Sarith, go ahead and roll that perception check.
Oh yeah, that's a 17.
17. Great. As they have set up for watch and you guys have settled back in Sefel, you kind of settle back into your trance. And these images and this knowledge that you're trying to recall / that is coming to you as you settle into this trance starts to come faster and faster, and you just start seeing the weirdest things. You see runes in scripture that make sense to you but don't at the same time, and you're able to pick out bits and pieces. You see mind flayers, you see twisted corpses, you see horrible abominations, and I need you to make me a sanity check.
Ooh.
Ooh!
So D20, and then so this is my first sanity check. So it's the D20, and then the sanity score has its own modifier, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So
And it's not a proficiency thing, it's just the modifier.
Right. Okay. Ooh, that's not great. So that's a flat 10.
Okay. I need you to roll me a D100, please.
Oh, Jesus.
Uh-oh.
Where's my other percentile? There we go. 83 on the percentile.
As this knowledge and these horrid things are careening through your mind, you find yourself snapping awake, but stunned as a short-term madness sets in with all the things you just saw that make sense and don't make sense to you, and you're just sitting there and you're just your tentacles in your hands twitching, and you're still able to see around you, and you see Sareth sitting a little ways away from you, propped up, keeping watch, and you watch with horror as you see quietly tiptoeing up behind Sareth is Bupido, and they're drawing out a dagger. And you watch,
You son of a bitch.
as Bupido takes Sareth by the mouth and just starts stabbing him in the chest repeatedly. And you hear, and this quiet and horrifying smile grows over Bupido as he just keeps the sickening sound and squelching of blood as he murders Sareth, and you are stunned, unable to do anything as you watch this. And Bupido finally pulls out this horrible stone dagger and then quickly across the neck, just, and you hear him quietly utter, "To myself I praise." And Sareth's body crumbles to the floor. Bupido brings the dagger up to his mouth and he licks the blade. And he starts to turn, and he sees you with your eyes wide open, your body shaking. And he cocks his head and sees that you don't do anything. And that smile grows on his face, and he starts walking towards you, the dagger pointing towards you. And he kind of waves, feints at you with the knife, and then slowly brings it up towards your chest and puts the point of it against your left breast. And he goes, "See something you weren't supposed to, Lucifer? Are you really not going to do anything?" And you feel the dagger point starting to stick into you little by little. And you take a point of damage. You're still stunned, shaking as this dagger slowly goes on. And he pulls the dagger out. "I want you to know something, Savelle. I appreciate you getting me out of there. I now can continue on my quest. Not enough people remember who I am. That I am a god reborn. I'll be waiting for you. Don't make me wait too long." And then he backs away from you. And then you see him run towards the far left doors. And you hear it as the door shuts. Imbu Peter disappears. And that's where we're going to end it today.
What the fuck, William?
Woo!
Hey everybody, this is Sam Conklin. I voice Lara in the Madness Table. We are so delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for listening to our dinky little podcast. We pour our hearts into this, so to have you here is just, it's the world. If you haven't already, we have a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Madness Table. You can also shoot us an email at themadnesstable@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, love to hear how you're enjoying the show, any questions you have for the characters. We might even shout you out in some future post show notes. So please do so. If you're loving the podcast, we would just adore you if you shared it with a friend. And that's it. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for our next episode when...
Madness continues.